Sister Wives Gabe Brown demanded accountability from Cody. October 14, 2024. During the Sunday, October 13th episode of Sister Wives, Gabe Brown revealed he demanded accountability from his father. He and Kody Brown have had a tumultuous relationship since the pandemic, but Gabe has always tried. Gabe has also been one of the few kids to tell his father how it is and not sugarcoat anything. That has been hard for his dad and could have squashed any chances of reconciliation. Keep reading for more details on what went down between the two of them. Gabe Brown demanded accountability from Cody. Growing up, Gabe Brown was very close to Kody Brown. There was a whole montage of them being best buddies, but Cody has made it clear that once his kids hit 18, they are on their own. That is not completely true, as he still coddles Robin Brown's 3 eldest. Things really fell apart during the pandemic, and Cody was very picky when it came to who he chose to spend his time with. He felt Janelle Brown and Christine Brown Woolley's homes were unsafe and called their children disobedient. However, Robin Brown and her kids were very loyal to Cody, so that prompted him to stay with her. Many of the Brown children believed that the pandemic was just an excuse for Cody to be with Robin full-time, and he ran with it. Gabe was very hurt by his dad during a pivotal episode that broke many hearts. Cody had COVID and he called Gabe, knowing he had been through it. Gabe offered the advice that he could and they hung up, but what Cody forgot was that it was also his son's birthday. He called back later to send birthday wishes, but that broke Gabe and things have really never been the same. As Gabe Brown was spending time with his mother, he shared how he and his father could mend fences. According to People, it was all on Cody. I told Dad that if he doesn't change and he can't take accountability, then I just won't ever see him again, and I'm perfectly OK with that. This came after Cody and Gabe had tried to speak, but it was very uncomfortable. Cody kept trying to get his son to apologize to him. Not happening. The conversations, which Kody Brown shared he had tried to reach out to Gabe, were very basic. Gabe Brown detailed that they started like this. It was like strange because he was like, "Hey, I miss you." And then he was like, he kept, like, phrasing it like I owed him an apology. That was not going to happen, so Gabe took matters into his own hands. He let his father know how they could have a real and meaningful relationship. Eventually, I was just like, hey, unless you're like actually ready to have a relationship and fix things, then we're not going to talk anymore. He came back a couple of days later and texted me. He's like, hey, I've been like thinking about what you've been saying. I forgive you, please forgive me. I was like, forgive me for what? Like, what's going on here? It was then that Gabe decided he was perfectly fine with not having his dad in his life anymore. Could things get back to normal, and would he be willing to work it out with his father? In Gabe's mind, it was all on Cody to truly make it right, and an act of God. Do you believe that Gabe is really okay with never speaking to his father again? More so, are you happy that he called Cody out for lacking accountability? Let us know your thoughts and watch Sister Wives Sundays on TLC. Gabe Brown and Kody Brown weren't always at odds. In fact, Gabe once had a very close relationship with his father, something that Sister Wives viewers have seen through various episodes over the years. As a child, Gabe was often portrayed as Cody's best buddy. Cody seemed actively involved in Gabe's life, and there was mutual admiration. However, Gabe's recounting of his childhood shows that despite this close bond, there were cracks in the relationship long before the pandemic. Cody's attitude towards his children changes significantly once they hit adulthood. Cody has been vocal about his belief that once his kids turn 18, they are on their own, a belief that has caused tensions, especially when it comes to his treatment of different children from various wives. Key quote: I told Dad that if he doesn't change and he can't take accountability, then I just won't ever see him again, and I'm perfectly OK with that. This quote encapsulates Gabe's turning point. He is no longer willing to maintain a one-sided relationship with Cody. Gabe's realization that Cody was unwilling to take responsibility for his actions put their relationship in jeopardy, setting the stage for an ultimatum. Section 2. The Pandemic Fallout, a Family Divided. The COVID-19 pandemic was a time of division for many families, but for the Browns, it revealed long-standing fractures. During the pandemic, Cody made decisions that significantly affected his relationships with his children, particularly those from Janelle and Christine's households. Cody openly criticized their homes as unsafe, citing pandemic precautions, but many of his children saw this as an excuse to distance himself from them and spend more time with Robin and her children. The fallout with Gabe is emblematic of this greater family dynamic. Gabe, like many of Cody's children, believed that his father's behavior during the pandemic was more about favoritism than safety. Cody, meanwhile, remained steadfast in his decisions, often labeling his children as disobedient if they didn't adhere to his strict pandemic rules. These actions only further alienated his older children, who felt neglected and unimportant. Pandemic divide. While Robin Brown and her kids adhered to Cody's rules, other wives, particularly Christine and Janelle, were viewed as rebellious. Cody's refusal to spend time with these families strained his relationship with their children. Gabe, in particular, was devastated when his father seemed to forget his birthday while discussing COVID-19. This heartbreaking moment was a pivotal turning point, as it left Gabe feeling utterly dismissed by his father. Key episode moment. In one memorable episode, Cody called Gabe to discuss COVID-19, completely unaware that it was his son's birthday. Gabe offered advice about the virus, but the damage was done. Cody's forgetfulness on such an important day left a lasting scar on their relationship, and fans witnessed the heartbreak unfold on screen. Though Cody did call back later to wish his son a happy birthday, the damage had already been done. Section 3. Gabe's struggle for reconciliation. Despite their deteriorating relationship, Gabe Brown made numerous attempts to reconcile with his father. Gabe's demand for accountability wasn't just about Cody's actions during the pandemic. It was about years of unmet emotional needs. Gabe has long been one of the few Brown children to speak openly and directly to Cody, refusing to sugarcoat his feelings or hide his disappointment. When Cody and Gabe finally spoke, the conversation was awkward and filled with tension. Cody tried to steer the interaction towards receiving an apology from Gabe, but that was not going to happen. As Gabe later detailed, Cody framed the conversation as if Gabe owed him something, rather than recognizing his own mistakes. The missed apology. Cody's repeated attempts to get Gabe to apologize only widened the gap between them. Instead of taking responsibility, Cody implied that Gabe was the one who needed to make amends. This reversal of roles left Gabe frustrated, and the conversation ultimately did more harm than good. Key moment. It was strange because he was like, "Hey, I miss you." And then he kept phrasing it like I owed him an apology. Gabe's confusion during this conversation highlights just how out of touch Cody seemed with the reality of their fractured relationship. Cody's inability to see the hurt he caused left Gabe feeling even more disconnected.